Welcome to The Herbal Ire, your podcast on all things holistic health, medical astrology, spirituality, herbalism, and so much more. Presented by your host, Ire Atla, medical astrologist, herbalist, and naturopath. Let's dive right into today's topic, love and light. Welcome back to The Herbal Ire. On this week's episode, I continue the medical astrology series and go into detail on the zodiac signs, what they govern in the body, and how knowing what planet is in that sign can help me determine what is going on in your body and the remedies that we need to apply. So, this is going to be a long episode. Let's get started. Hello, dear listeners. Welcome back. I am so glad you were joining me today. Today's episode is all about how the zodiac signs are used in medical astrology and what it means for your health based on what planet they are located in on your natal chart. And usually in astrology, we start the signs of the zodiac on Aries. So we will start there today. And I'm just going to jump right in without much of an introduction because this is going to be 12 signs and I talk a lot. So we want to make sure this episode's not like 2 hours long. So we start with Aries. Aries is the sign of the ram. It is a very masculine energy sign, meaning it wants to move and go and be active. People under the rulership of Aries as their sun sign tend to be very dynamic individuals that have difficulty sitting still. They want to constantly be moving and going and doing, right? Something, anything. They don't care what it is. They just don't want to sit in one place for too long. The vital force in Aries tends to be very strong and concentrated in the head because Aries rules the head. So its energy can manifest sometimes as fast, dry heat in that region, meaning like tension headaches, things like that. The vital force in Aries often comes in spurts. So you will have moments where it's like higher than others, right? So sometimes you'll get like the tension headaches because there's stress and stuff going on. So the vital force of Aries might show up a little stronger to keep you moving and going and doing, but can also cause a headache at the same time. And then other times it's not as strong. And so the headaches and other issues won't be present. High sudden fevers are also another feature of Aries, and with someone who has a strong Aries in their chart, I always pay close attention to the brain and the eyes, because unfortunately, strokes are common in those with strong Aries in their chart. This sign needs a lot of movement daily. This is a sign that needs to be doing some sort of movement daily. It doesn't matter what it is. But due to this fact that they are a very hot sign and that they do need all this movement, Aries does tend to have a strong tendency toward dehydration. So if you have strong Aries in your chart, you are going to need to drink all the water that you can possibly drink. And then add some more when you think you've drank enough. If you don't feel like you're floating away, then you haven't drank enough water. Add some more. So that is Aries. It governs the head, the brain, the eyes mainly. And so if we're looking for what's going on because you come to me with headaches or eye strain or anything like that, we would look to see where Aries is in your chart, what planet it's sitting in, what house it's in, and then determine from there if Aries is really the cause of the issues or not. And if it is, then work to rebalance Aries. So the next sign that we come to is Taurus. Taurus is the sign of the bull. It's a very passive, receptive energy sign, usually. Taurus is happy to just stay put and enjoy life as long as there is food present and their favorite blanket to curl up under. The vital force of Taurus gathers most in the ears, nose, throat, neck region. And I know that is true about Tauruses because I have 2 kids that are Tauruses. Of my 4, 2 of them are Taurus. And I am telling you, they are like completely different from my other 2 in how much they really just want and are happy to just enjoy some good food, stay in the house, curl up under a blanket, and enjoy their favorite show or their favorite book. It's really interesting to see how all the different signs show up even differently almost in my kids, because even between the 2 of them, they still have some differences as well. So I know that is very true of Tauruses, and I love it. It's seriously, a lot of us need to learn to be more like that and take our time to rest and enjoy some good, nutritious food, right? So we can learn a lot from the Tauruses in our lives. The strength and endurance of the Taurian vital force is legendary. Taurians rarely get sick, but when they do, they recover quickly. They have a very short convalescence period needed, and this is because a Taurian's natural inclination when feeling poorly is to rest and convalesce, right? They want to drink plenty of rich broths and fluids, they eat nourishing foods, they want to just lay around and not move. And these are all the things you should do when you're sick. So their natural inclination is exactly what all of us should be doing when we're feeling sick or we become ill, is to rest, relax, and nourish your body, right? So they are usually quick to recover if they do become sick at all. And it's very rare that they do to begin with. Unfortunately, Taurians do tend to be prone to mucus buildup in the ear, nose, and throat region. Uh, which can cause a lot of like congestion and stuffiness, allergies, sometimes like things like that. And a lot of mucus production can prevent certain body functions from happening as they should. So they can be prone to like sore throats, postnasal drip, things like that, that just irritate that whole region, right? Um, but most problems that arise for Turians are related to nutrition, and this is because they tend to be avid foodies of really rich, amazing foods and sometimes overeat because they just really do love their food, right? They love to explore new cultures and try their foods. They are really adventurous in their eating. You can get a Taurian kid to probably eat shit that you couldn't get any other kid to eat. Case in point, my one Taurian kid will literally eat anything you set in front of them. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how weird it looks, it doesn't matter if they've never seen it or had it, they will try it. They think it's great, they are very adventurous, they absolutely love new foods. Whereas on the other end of the spectrum, I have a child who literally, if you just mention a new food, will have a complete meltdown that we might be having that new food later in like the week because they just really are not adventurous at all, right? They're the exact opposite. They are very orderly. They like this, and this. They like routine and they don't like to come out of it. And so it's just really funny the differences you can see. And so, because they do sometimes like the really rich foods and they do sometimes tend to overindulge a little bit, this can cause some liver issues. So, the liver and ear, nose, and throat area are the places we focus on the most with someone with a strong Taurus in their chart or having issues in the ear, nose, throat, or liver regions. We'll look there as well to see what's going on with their Taurus and where it's at. So Gemini is next, and this is the sign of the twins. And many people think this means that strong Gemini individuals are very two faced, but that's really not true at all. These individuals just have two sides to their energy, right? So they're always going, 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 or they're in leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. I need rest mode. So people sometimes misinterpret this as, well, they're like, were my friend and they were talking to me all the time and I haven't heard from them in weeks now. So what's going on? Are they friends with someone else? What's happening? And it has nothing to do with you at all. It literally is just how Geminis express their energy, express their vibrational pattern. They are very much back and forth between the I want to do all the things, go out with all my friends, message them constantly, and I'm sequestering myself in my house and I don't want to see anybody for the next 3 weeks. It's just how their energy and their spirit presents, and there's nothing wrong with that. So they are a mutable air sign, so they can tend to seem flighty to some people, flitting from one interest to another over and over again. Due to this, the main problems that we find in Gemini individuals tend to be related to nervous system issues and lung issues, which makes sense because Gemini rules the lungs and the nerves. Gemini individuals tend to have very overactive nervous systems and they need lots of help to help them kind of calm that down. They have higher possibilities of being like really addicted to technology and needing to be on their phones all the time or constantly playing video games or watching TVs or movies or things like that. They have a hard time just kind of sitting still and doing things where it doesn't require them to be like flitting from this movie over to that show and playing this game over here, and because their nervous systems have a really hard time regulating. And so a lot of care is taken when dealing with someone with a strong Gemini to settle that nervous system down, right? Due to their constant movement and tendency to be chatty, they do tend to suffer from asthma and other lung issues, it seems. So, paying special attention to that system as well as the nervous system when dealing with a person who has a strong Gemini in their chart is the main focus of, what I would be doing. The next sign is Cancer. This is the sign of the crab. Cancer rules over the stomach, the breast, the womb, the personal memories, receptive feelings. Cancer is a water sign through and through. This sign feels everything, whether they want to or not, and it can be very hard to regulate when they can't tell if the feeling they are feeling is theirs or the person's next to them, right? Because they pick up on everything. They are very strongly intuitive individuals and they're very empathic and they tend to feel all the things. And this makes them seem really up and down emotionally sometimes because one moment they can be like laughing and the next minute they're crying and then they're like screaming. And it's not necessarily because that's who they are or what they're going through, but they're picking up on those energetic vibrations from whoever's in the room with them and they're projecting that person's feeling and emotion that they're having and not necessarily their own. So these individuals tend to have really strong defense mechanisms in place to defend themselves emotionally, mentally, physically. And because of this, Cancerians tend to have all manner of like allergies and walling off mechanisms that tend to be the issues when they come to see me. And this means things such as cysts, like agoraphobia, even. You'll find many cancers just want to stay in the house all the time. And it's because it's so hard to not just feel everything and without being able to like throw up a shield or whatever they need to do to keep those energies in the other person, they would prefer to just stay home all the time. So they may seem like homebodies sometimes. And the Cancer also strongly influences the pituitary and the hypothalamus glands. And as such, they tend to be extremely sensitive to temperature changes and overall tend to have a weak constitution, meaning that they tend to get sick more often than other people, perhaps, depending on, of course, how it's presenting in their chart. They tend to be more lively at night with the moon than during the day with the sun. And this is because they are, again, a classic water sign. Water signs tend to be more influenced by the moon than the sun. And so, because of that, they do tend to get more lively at night. So, you'll see a lot of Cancerians who are like overnight workers, right? They're like EMTs on the night shift. They're firefighters on like weird shifts because they can get a lot of that alone time. They tend to be like healthcare workers that work the overnight shifts. They work the graveyards, things like that. They are more active at night and they tend to like being up in the night more because it's quieter typically. It's calmer. There's a lot less other people's energies coming at them because it tends to be, a shift where you don't tend to see a lot of people sometimes, right? And so that's something that they just tend to prefer. And many of their health problems do stem from internalized trauma or holding on to feelings and emotions that don't actually belong to them. So, a lot of times with Cancerians, we need to just work on the psychological side more so than even the physical side. And as we help them solve those psychological issues that they're having, then they tend to heal all the physical symptoms that they're having. A lot of their symptoms tend to be psychologically manifested into physical symptoms in their bodies. So if you happen to have a strong Cancer in your chart, working with like Reiki, homeopathy, vibrational energies like flower essences, working on, trauma by however that works for you, whatever means you want to do that for therapy or anything similar to that. Anything that kind of gets that trauma up and out of their bodies and then works on their psyche really can be almost more powerful than actually giving them anything for the physical symptom that they're having. So the next sign is Leo. Leo is the sign of the lion. Leo is another hot, active, very masculine energy sign. The sun governs Leo, and you can tell that easily by the fact that their vital force is very high. Leo rules the heart, the spinal sheath, and the thoracic region. And you can see that they tend to be the hottest of all signs with plenty of heat-related complaints. So, if you're coming to me and you're complaining of anything that's like lots of inflammation, or you get random weird fevers, or you're constantly feeling really hot for no reason, or anything like that, high blood pressure, gallbladder issues, acid reflux, anything that tends to be caused by like a very hot condition in the body, I look to see where your Leo is, because that could be what's out of balance. So they are prone to dehydration, acid reflux, high blood pressure, and gallbladder issues. So again, this is another sign that needs to drink, drink, drink all of the water and incorporate plenty of movement daily into their lives. So then we move on to Virgo. Virgo is the sign of the maiden or the virgin. It depends on where you look for the astrology correlations. Some say virgin, some say maiden. Honestly, it's kind of the same thing. So, whatever works for you. Virgo rules the upper digestive organs, including the small intestine, the pancreas, the liver, the appendix, and the spleen, and it co rules the immune system with Pisces. But this system actually is in like overdrive in Virgo when it's in a Virgo placement. So Virgos tend to actually need less sleep than other signs, and as such are prone to insomnia. And they're also prone to extremes. Virgos tend to go from one extreme to the other. And so, as such, to balance out a strong Virgo is to teach them how to find balance in their lives, right? How to actually balance things and not just be all of one or all of another. So, they tend to be, prone to the extremes, like extreme diets, like we're eating the 500 calories a day, or if they stop that one because it's unsustainable and they can't keep up with it, they'll go to the other extreme where now they're eating like a 3,000 calorie diet that's all meat or whatever. Like they don't they have a hard time finding that balance in their lives, right? Of finding just the well balanced, diet that's full of, whole, nutritious, organic foods that are nutrient dense and give them what they need. So, working with them, that's something that we would work on. They also tend to have eating disorders sometimes, OCD, or obsessive over exercising. Like these will be the people that you'll see in the gym like 3-4 hours a day, right? Like they'll go 2 hours in the morning before work and they'll go 2 hours after work. And there's no need for them to do that much. You don't need to be in the gym 4 hours a day, but they just know if they stop going to the gym 4 hours a day, like it's going to ruin everything. And so they can't do it. So they tend to get a little obsessed sometimes with things. So one of the main things with Virgos is teaching them balance in all things in life, not just, one extreme or the other. They do tend to have slow livers, finicky digestion sometimes, and someone with a strong Virgo in their chart needs plenty of sleep, plenty of balance, and realizing that too much of even a good thing is too much. So balance, 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 balance is key with Virgos. And that brings me to the next sign, which is the sign of balance. Libra is the sign of the balancing scales. Libra rules the kidneys, the ovaries, the lumbar region, the hormones, the acid alkaline balance of the body, basically all the systems that help regulate and balance our bodies, right? So Libra is, after all, the sign of balance. Many strong Libras have issues with overindulging in sugar, which leads to diabetes, which is actually very common in this sign. Many people who come to me who have diabetes tend to be either Virgos or Libras from my experience in this field. Um, they also tend to fall easily into addictive patterns, and as such then have hormone imbalances frequently and need to work again on balance. They tend to be prone to UTIs and other urinary tract concerns. So again, we want to make sure that Libras are drinking plenty of water, they're getting plenty of electrolytes, and that they are living more in balance with, in harmony with their bodies, nature, and life, and all that fun stuff. The next sign is Scorpio, the sign of the scorpion. And that's me. I am a Scorpio through and through. I have 5 planets in Scorpio: my sun, my moon, my Saturn, my Uranus, and my Mercury are all in Scorpio. And let me tell you, it can be a little crazy over here sometimes being in my head and in my body. So, um, yeah, it's definitely fun times. This water sign is ruled by Pluto and it's a very intuitive sign. But despite being a water sign, these individuals, Scorpios, tend to run very dry. And this is because Scorpio is like a leaky ass water sign. It wants to leak water constantly. So I can tell you this is 100% true just by my experience. And then my partner is a Scorpio as well, and they have very similar experiences. So just on that alone, I can tell you that a lot of this is super true. They tend to run dry, and this is because we tend to have constantly runny noses. We need to pee all the time. If you have individual with ovaries and a uterus, you tend to maybe have really heavy periods. You have frequent nosebleeds, diarrhea, etc. This is a water sign that does not want to hold on to water. It's absolutely crazy. So dehydration is actually very common with this sign as well. Scorpio rules, surprise, surprise, the colon, the bladder, the genitals, and the nose. And in the female reproductive system, they rule the uterus. They really great thing about Scorpios, and this is something that, again, I can attest to being true, is that we are the cats of the zodiac signs. We literally seem to have 9 lives. Things that are normally considered to be deadly, terminal, fatal, whatever, to others will tend to just like not kill us. It will just disappear from our bodies. They'll just like 1 minute they'll be there and you'll go back for follow up and it's gone. And we recover from things that most people were 100% positive we were not going to recover from. Um, it's It's really weird. I don't know why that is, but pretty much every Scorpio I've ever met, I ask them if they've had some kind of like life changing, life altering like illness or anything happen to them that they thought for sure they were like, this is going to be the end, and they're still here. And what that was. And every single Scorpio that I have talked to has a story, as a legit story of, oh, I should have died, but. And it's crazy. I have one too. We might go over that in another podcast episode. If that interests you, drop a comment, send me an email, leave me a voice message if that's something you want to hear. I will tell you all about my crazy should have died Scorpio has 9 lives story. Due to the highly intuitive nature of this sign, they do find it really easy to meditate and use their psychic powers to heal the body. So this might be why we tend to, not have fatal reactions to things that otherwise people believe should be fatal. We're really in tune with our bodies a lot of times and how it feels and where the energy is flowing and what's just happening in there on an energetic and vibrational level, and we're really good at being able to change those vibrations and energies back to one that keeps our bodies in balance. So that can be a lot of what's happening with us. I don't know for sure. It'd be interesting to hear from you if you're a Scorpio, if you've had the same experience. So another sign needs plenty of water and electrolytes. In case you haven't noticed a theme here, pretty much every sign, and this goes for every person on the planet, needs a fuck ton of water. You literally need half of your body weight in ounces in water a day. So, yeah, you need to drink a lot of fucking water and just plain water. Don't be going for all this crazy fancy water with all of the crap in it. Just plain old regular refreshing water. And if you need to add some electrolytes, add some electrolytes, but just plain water. You don't need the fancy alkaline water. That does fuck all for your body. It's not going to change your alkaline level. So you would have to drink so much of it to change your alkaline level in your body that you would literally like die of water intoxication before you got to that level. So don't go drinking the fancy waters. You don't need anything but just plain old fashioned water and some electrolytes added to it here and there. But you need a lot of water. A lot of the things that people come to me for and I start talking to them, 90% of these problems could be 100% fixed if they just drank enough water a day. Cut out the caffeine, stop drinking the sodas, and just focused on water, all their problems would go away. So, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, man, I don't drink enough water, go drink some water. All right, next sign is Sagittarius, the sign of the archer. This is another fire sign that tends to be very active and needs lots of movement in their lives to be happy and healthy. Sagittarius rules the central nervous system, the arteries, the lower spinal nerves, the hips, the thighs, and the voluntary muscles. This is a sign that tends to have a lot of nervous energy stored up. You will This will be the person in a room of like during a lecture or presentation that will be sitting there tapping their toe, shaking their leg, clicking their pen, moving all over in their seat. This will be the sign that will be doing that. Um, they do not like being required to sit still and sit in one location for a period of time. It's just totally against their nature. And many health problems found in Sagittarius individuals are stemming from insufficient free movement. This sign tends to be very prone to ADHD, hysteria, panic attacks, epilepsy, schizophrenia, bipolar, etc. If they are not able to get that nervous energy out in a productive manner, it sets into the nervous system and then causes all kinds of health issues, as mentioned above. So, this sign requires plenty of daily movement. If you're a Sagittarius, you should be the one who's at the gym for, several hours a day if that feels right to you. If you hate the gym and you're like, oh my God, that sounds terrible, don't go to the gym. Find another way to get some daily movement, right? Go on hikes in nature, ride a bike, go swimming, whatever works that makes you happy, get some movement in it. Dancing, it doesn't matter what it is, but you definitely need lots of movement. Herbs that calm down your nervous system and adding in meditation and yoga is super, super, super imperative for Sagittarius individuals that have a lot of Sagittarius in their chart. And definitely, you're going to hate me here. You need to eliminate caffeine to keep your nervous system in check. You are a sign that does not need caffeine at all. You have enough energy by yourself. You don't need any more. So, you don't need caffeine. You don't need any kind of like alcohol either, because what happens with a lot of these individuals is they tend to realize that they're constantly like feeling nervous, anxious, wanting to move all the time, and they think, oh, I need to calm that down. And so to sleep at night, they'll drink like a nightcap, right? And then pretty soon that nightcap turns into a midday cap and then a breakfast cap, and then it's an all day cap, and they tend to be very prone to falling into alcoholism. So if this is you, if you are a Sagittarius and you see this pattern happening, find a way to get out of it. Go back to drinking only water. Take daily walks in the morning to boost your dopamine levels, which help keep your central nervous system in check. Take some herbs that help calm your nervous system down. Skullcap, lemon balm, all very good ones. Hops, yes, the same hops that you make beer with are actually taken as a herbal infusion. Very, very good for calming your nervous system. And this is why people want to drink alcohol, especially tend toward beer if they tend to be hyperactive individuals or they're self-medicating for some kind of like anxiety or nervous condition in their body. They'll drink beer because it's very calming because it's made from hops. Hops are very sedating and very calming. So cut out the alcohol. Terrible for your liver, terrible for your body, gonna put you in an early grave. Let's not do that. Drink some hop tea before bed, and you will get the same effect without all of the side effects that come with drinking alcohol. So that's my tip for you if you're a Sagittarius. Capricorn is the next sign, and it's the sign of the horned goat. Capricorn rules the knees, the skeletal structure, the bones, the skins, the nails, etc. Capricorn has a very hardening, drying effect on the body. So this means that they tend to have like liver issues, gallstones, brittle nails, receding gums, sensitive stomachs, arthritis, lots of issues that are caused from like the drying up of those membranes, right? Like if your gallbladder is not getting enough bile put through it and it's kind of stagnant, it'll form stones because the bile will just sit there and it'll crystallize. So that's basically what this sign is. They tend to um, have a lot of issues with that kind of stuff. So again, they need to drink plenty of water every day, and they tend to undereat. A lot of times Capricornians tend to get busy with things and then just kind of forget to eat meals. Or when they do eat, they tend to undereat in the amount that they need. They seem to have issues with looking at how much food is on their plate and determining if it's enough for them or not. They tend to undereat. they have the opposite. Usually you say your eyes are bigger than your stomach. In their case, their eyes are smaller than their stomach. So they definitely need to increase their calories a lot of time and make sure they're getting plenty of vitamins, minerals, proteins, fats, and carbs, because they need to make sure that they're getting all the stuff they need for their body. A lot of Capricornians' issues tend to be caused by some sort of vitamin or mineral deficiency. So if you're a Capricornian and you're suffering from a lot of these, you might just need to increase your calories, increase your water intake, and then make sure you increase your calories, your vitamins, your nutrients, your carbs, fats, and proteins. And that should get you feeling better. Um, Capricornians also tend to just like disciplined health regimens, and they need those sometimes to follow. And so these are the kind of people that if you give them a protocol to follow, they will follow it to a T, and they will get better very quickly because they know and like to follow like roadmaps and stuff, but they just don't know how to get those. So if you give them a roadmap to follow, they will follow it to a T and get better quickly. All right, next sign is Aquarius. This is the sign of the water bearer. And actually, despite that fact, this is an air sign, not a water sign. It rules the calves, the ankles, and the electrical system of the body. These signs are really prone to like cold complaints such as spasms, cramps, neurological disturbances, etc. If somebody comes to you and they're having really weird intermittent symptoms, and especially weird like intermittent neuro symptoms, there's something going on with where the Aquarius is placed in their chart, and you need to go investigate it. So that's where I would tend to look first due to that. They do tend to suffer from really weird, odd, just what is going on, intermittent symptoms. They also tend to suffer from suboxygenation, and this is because a lot of them tend to be mouth breathers instead of nose breathers. And we're made and meant to breathe through our nose mainly. Our mouth is actually like a secondary means to breathe through, but nose breathing is where we should be doing 99.9% of our breathing at all times. So when you breathe through your mouth, you tend to let off too much carbon dioxide, which, despite what it sounds like, is not a good thing, right? You need to maintain a certain level of carbon dioxide in your body to also maintain proper oxygen levels. They work on each other. So if you have too low carbon dioxide, you actually won't be able to oxygenate properly. So you need both of those, and you need them at a certain balance, right? So you definitely do need them, and you do need them to breathe properly, keep your oxygen levels high. So a lot of their issues sometimes just stem from the fact that they're not breathing properly, and as such, they don't have enough oxygen, and this is why their symptoms seem sort of intermittent, right? Like they'll not have issues for a while and then they'll show back up again. And this might be because they were for a while breathing through their nose properly, or they were, having some sort of thing that kept them more in alignment, and now that's gone, and so now they're having issues again with that. So that's why a lot of times they tend to be intermittent. So one of the things that we really need to do with Aquarians is lots of focus and paying attention to how they're breathing, right? Make sure that they're always really focused on, I'm breathing through my nose and I'm not breathing through my mouth. They also tend to have poor absorption of vitamins and minerals, so a lot of times supplementation is needed of those until they get up to proper levels, and then at the same time, while you're getting them up to those proper levels, working on their digestive system to make sure that their absorption levels are increasing naturally as well, so that they don't have to constantly be on a pill forever. These individuals tend to be very sensitive to barometric pressure changes and EMF fields. So, sleeping with all electronics out of the bedroom with an open window to get plenty of fresh air and oxygen in tends to actually be really good for them and can help, again, with a lot of the problems that they're having. A lot of the issues they're having, especially like the neurological ones, are just caused because their body is completely overwhelmed with the amount of EMF that it's getting from all the electronics that are around us all the time. So, keeping their bedroom a very safe electronic free zone can actually help increase their health and decrease the symptoms, and actually ridding their life of all the electronic items that we really don't need to live with can actually help a lot too. So, and last, but certainly not least, we have Pisces, which is the sign of the fish. Pisces rules the feet, the lymphatic system, the parasympathetic system, and as we learned earlier, it co-rules the immune system with Virgo. So this sign tends to be a very sleepy sign. These are people that love to sleep and they actually need more sleep than other people. These are the people that need 10 to 12 hours of sleep a night. And if they don't get it, they are very, very cranky. And it is very noticeable that they did not get all the sleep that they need. Um, they tend to have issues with excessive moisture in their body and assimilating protein into their diet, poor stamina, and they're frequently sick very often. They do require a long convalescence period. So these are ones that when they do get sick, they tend to stay sick for a while. That takes them a long time to recover. A lot of this is because they just have a poor vital force. It's the last sign in the zodiac. It's kind of where it falls. It's kind of like a late winter sign. And so we're like late in that season where we're kind of just, we're not moving as much. We're sitting around more. We're not active because it's, not always great weather outside. And so because of that, their vital force just tends to really kind of show up as that season, right? Just very late in the winter. We're all getting antsy. We want to get out, but we're getting sick often sometimes, maybe because we're not keeping up on our immune system stuff. We're not getting enough sun and vitamin D because we're not outside as much. And so Pisces just unfortunately gets the raw end of the deal there and kind of gets that constitution. So we need to give Pisces plenty of warming, drying remedies that help build up that vital force and get that to a point where it's like much better for them. So this is also a water sign, so stuff that would be like sun herbs would be really good for this. Mars herbs, things like that. Things that are hot and drying, warming, and increasing that vital force in their body. They also do tend to be the most psychic sign, and a lot of their symptoms and health problems actually come by being set upon by unseen spiritual and psychic energies. They are extremely susceptible to suggestion, and care is needed when dealing with a person with a strong Pisces, as just the mere mention of possibly having an illness is enough to actually bring on that illness to that person. So you need to use a lot of care and how you're speaking to a Pisces about their health and how you're giving the protocol to them to follow so that you don't accidentally suggest them into the wrong direction and cause more illness instead of healing illness. Um, this is very true. I have a client who has a Pisces moon, and they are very, very susceptible to that. Uh, just the mere thought of the fact that there's like an illness out there that they could possibly catch is enough to like literally make them sick and calm down with that exact illness. It's absolutely crazy. I got to be very careful with, how I'm talking to them and not accidentally suggesting anything that might push them over that edge. So vibrational energy remedies work really well with this. So homeopathy, flower essences, things like that. Lots of yoga, meditation, things that help like change that vibrational energy and teach them to be more in control of their psyche and their inner being actually really helps a lot with them. So these are ones that need that. Um, they also need a lot of good nutrition, physical fitness, and useful work to help them maintain their vital force and to keep illness at bay. So these are also ones that do really well with plenty of movement daily and to keep up their vital force and keep them moving and keep them from getting sick. And with that, we are done. As you can see, knowing what sign is where in the chart can actually really help pinpoint what is happening and what we need to do to remedy it. This is why I love medical astrology so, so much. I am telling you, it literally makes my job like 100 times easier. And it really is a microscope to help me look into your body and help me help you truly heal. And yeah, I love it. I hope you guys see now why I love it so much, and hopefully you've gotten some love for it too in this little series. That's it for now. I don't think there's really anything else that I need to discuss about it. But if you have other questions or things that you would like to know more about, definitely let me know. Leave me a message via email at info@twinravennaturals.com, or you can leave a voice message via Anchor at anchor.fm/the dash herbal HERBAL dash IR EIR. You can go there and leave a voice message. I would love to hear more. If you have any other episodes or health issues or anything you would like to talk about or discuss or hear me discuss, uh, let me know, and I will, start making podcast episodes around that information that you want to know more about. So I would love that. I would absolutely love it if you got in touch with me and let me know what you want to hear more of or what you want to hear about next. And until then, love and light. So, how cool is medical astrology? If you have finished listening to this medical astrology mini series and are like, fuck yes, how do I get a reading? Well, you are going to love this. Just for my amazing podcast listeners, I am offering 20% off my medical astrology natal chart readings. These readings are an in depth, detailed assessment of your natal chart from a medical astrology standpoint. This assessment will show you where your health issues may occur, what this means for you and your health, ways to work on prevention, herbs, supplements, diet, lifestyle, and mindset transformations necessary for prevention and management of current health issues. And so, yeah, if you're like, this is great, but I really want more or I need more of an action plan, you also get a discount for working together if you want to take it further and get a customized program based on your natal chart and your specific needs. So, to redeem your discount, you're going to go to the link in the show notes and you're going to enter code MA20 at checkout. Again, you're going to enter coupon code MA20 at checkout to receive 20% off your medical astrology natal chart reading. And as I mentioned, you can find the link in the show notes. Hope to see you there. That's it for another great episode of The Herbal Ire. Tune in next week for more valuable content with your host, Ire Atla.